Welcome to the Saturday Cadence Podcast. I'm Blake Biscardi, and remember, the Saturday Cadence Podcast is the heartbeat of college football. I'm not going to lie to you. I have a little beef with Vegas for the Saturday 7 pick segment for how close of a needle we had to thread on some of these, and unfortunately being on the wrong side of that needle. But welcome into Saturday Cadence. My name is Blake Biscardi, and I am your host. A lot of great games to recap, break down from a loaded week 3 slate. We had some surprise games on there, be competitive. All the night games were classics, not to mention Georgia and Tennessee. That was the game of the weekend, and it absolutely delivered. Tennessee jumped out to a 21-7 lead. And you thought, my goodness, we're off to the races here. The game did settle down a little bit. The final was Georgia 44, Tennessee 41, ultimately winning that in overtime. But man, how did we get here? I think what I saw from Tennessee, we knew Georgia this year was really talented. And Grant and David both said it on the show. And that was the wide belief across college football. This was a program game for Georgia. You could feel comfortable. Georgia has earned the benefit of the doubt in this spot. I did decide to take Tennessee to win the game outright at the 3.5, though. I will take that because they did cover. But I just thought at home, I believed in Joey Aguilar. And I admitted last week I was a little bit wrong on Tennessee. I didn't think they would be this caliber of a team this year after the attrition that they've had on the roster. Didn't know how the quarterback situation was going to go out. But Joey Aguilar's proved me wrong. I mean, he's playing outstanding football. And he did not do anything to really lose the game for the Volunteers there. But Tennessee is a much better football team than I thought that they would be. And I give them a lot of credit for it. And they are a team that now, if they can get their schedule right and they can win some of these big matchups, I mean, we know the third Saturday in October, they've got Alabama. That game is in Tuscaloosa, so a pretty tricky matchup there for the Vols. They host Oklahoma. They go to Florida. Vanderbilt could be tricky rivalry week. But Tennessee, it's not the worst SEC schedule that I have seen. I'm not going to lie to you. It really isn't. If Tennessee can figure out a way to be 10-2, 9-3, potentially having an argument for the playoff at 9-3, depending on how close losses they have. If it's 3 losses like this by a field goal to really good teams, okay, they'll be on the bubble. But Tennessee is going to be right in there. A lot of respect for Josh Heupel and that staff and the program. Tennessee football is back on the scale of national relevance. Tennessee football is back. They may not win a championship. They may not win the SEC, but just from a competitive standpoint, this program is back. And Georgia, we know, hasn't gone anywhere. And like I said, it was the program game for Georgia. They've earned the benefit of the doubt. They were on the road down 21-7. They didn't flinch. My biggest takeaway for Georgia, they did not flinch. And Gunnar Stockton can go make the plays needed on the road to win a game. We were unsure of this. And again, one of these things that led me to the pick for Tennessee was a trend we're noticing in college football this year. We know there's a lot of first-time or young starting quarterbacks, and that's, kind of a slash there on those two because some of them are young and first-time starters, or, in Ty Simpson's case, you've been in the program for a couple of years and now you get your opportunity. It just depends around the country, but how were they going to fare in the big road environments? We saw Bryce Underwood, a true freshman, go into Norman, and what happened there? Arch Manning come into Columbus, CJ Carr go to Miami. We're seeing all these quarterbacks go into these road environments and how they responded there. Not in a bad way. It's just, it's your first time and you're going to have some growing pains. You'll experience that. And how do you respond to it? And we saw a guy like CJ Carr. He responded well toward the end of the game, found a rhythm, not enough to win for Notre Dame. Bryce Underwood, a little bit frustrating. Was it the offensive game plan? Was it the receivers not making plays? Or was it just Underwood himself? It was a big moment. He didn't look like he was rattled too much to me. But Gunnar Stockton, I got to give him all the credit in the world for his performance in this game against Tennessee. Because down 2 scores at Neyland, that place was on fire. To battle back, go into the half 21-17. That is something you want to see. That's the encouraging sign for Georgia this year when you're looking at, okay, how's this SEC race going to settle out now? Is Texas really going to be that good? Alabama has a lot of question marks, although they're uber talented. It's not like I'm counting either of these two teams out. Texas A&M looks like a contending team. The SEC doesn't really have that clear-cut number one top dog favorite like they usually do. It's going to be pretty competitive and pretty even. That these teams are pretty evenly matched. But Georgia, this was an opportunity here early in the season to say, we are still the Georgia Bulldogs, and this program is still the premier program in college football. Now they're going to have another opportunity later in the month against Alabama. That game is at home. We'll see how that goes. If Georgia is able to win both of the matchups against Tennessee and Alabama in September, that right there is going to tell you that Georgia is the favorite in the SEC. And if you have a guy like Gunnar Stockton, who early in the year can make those plays on the road, can do what's required of him. Okay, you know what? You're not used to seeing Georgia give up 40 points. But what I found out about this game with Georgia, they can win a game that way. They have the offense this year. Last year, it was offensive line troubles. It was, the receivers had a lot of drops. They couldn't catch the football. This year, that doesn't seem to be the problem. I know a really small sample size, and this was Georgia's first test and everything that we're looking at. But just overall, as a program, Georgia offensively looks better than they did a year ago. And that's the sign. And again, if I'm looking at a Georgia team and saying, the offense is good. Defense gave up 41 points. It was on the road. It was earlier in the season. Kirby Smart's the head coach. You know what? Okay, I'll take that problem. I'll take that problem because I trust Kirby Smart, defensive guru, great mind, Nick Saban disciple. I trust Kirby Smart. He has earned the respect and earned the trust that we have in him based on the defenses that he delivers year in and year out. So I will take Kirby Smart to figure out how to fix that defense. And you know what? Maybe this isn't 2021, 2022, or 2023 Georgia defense, but that's okay. They may not have to be a defense that says, we're going to be completely dominant, have 7 draft picks, and give up 11 points a game. That may not be Georgia this year. In fact, it's not Georgia this year. I'm just going to tell you now. But could Georgia give up 20 points a game and be okay? Well, if the offense looks like that, yeah, they can. So I'm okay on Georgia like this. If the problem that Georgia has is not wide receivers having drops, it's not offensive line protection issues, it's not run game issues. Again, we can figure out these things as the season progresses. If Georgia's biggest issue is its defense, I trust Kirby Smart can get that rectified. It's just the trust that he's earned over time. I mean, look at Stockton. 304 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Joey Aguilar, on the other hand, 371 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Now, Stockton did have the strip sack, so he did have a turnover. But these two quarterbacks shined. Again, in this SEC where we're looking at, hey, we know there's a lot of good quarterbacks. And all right, who's the best quarterback? Is it Garrett Nussmeier? Is it Marcel Reed? Is it John Mateer? Saw him in person on Saturday. Really impressed with him. I want to buy John Mateer stock. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But again, that was my takeaway from this game is the SEC is good. There may not be elite at the top, but the SEC is good, and they've got good football teams. And it's going to be some cannibalism. There's going to be the 10-2s and the 9-3s in the SEC. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. I don't know which team's going to be what. That's the best part about this race is you don't know how it's going to shake out. You just know, okay, there's enough spots for these 10-2 teams and then these 9-3 teams. Can somebody figure out a way to go 11-1? Don't know, but you just don't know. That's the beauty of this SEC race this year. So really, really intrigued by it. And another team I just mentioned, Texas A&M, humongous road win against Notre Dame. Humongous. Notre Dame, Tyler Buckner could not get the snap and the hold, that process. He was the holder. Could not get the ball set for the kicker. Game would have went to overtime. Notre Dame goes down the field, scores a touchdown. Nope, no extra point. Up by 6. Again, a little bit of beef with Vegas. I was a little upset for that 3 minutes there because I had Notre Dame minus 6.5 on in our pick segment. And again, we told you we'd be better, and we were this week. We were much better, but we still have some work to do. And again, a little upset because that's how this went. Again, no personal stake in the game. Just we're making the picks, we're trying to be better for you guys and give you the best advice possible. But how this game went, really competitive. Defense is optional. A little bit disappointed in Notre Dame's defense with Chris Ash. I thought that was going to be a lot better. That's something that I want to continue to keep an eye on and monitor because CJ Carr is going to continue to grow. He'll be fine. Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, that running game. Notre Dame has great receivers. Jaden Greathouse leading that charge. I really like the Notre Dame offense. I think it's going to be completely fine. They just have to figure out the defense. And again, if I've got Chris Ash and I've got Marcus Freeman, that combination, I do trust that. What happened now for Notre Dame is the margin for error is razor thin. They don't have another loss if they want to make the playoff. I still think Notre Dame can get in the playoff at 10-2. I'm not worried about that. And I think they will. I don't think they're going to end up hosting a game. We would need mass 2007 level chaos for Notre Dame to figure out a home game in the playoff. But I think they could still get there. I think they still should be ranked. And again, there's some opinions going on about the AP poll. And yeah, that's a whole different story for a different show. You guys know my motto in September: don't overreact, don't justify. It's just what it is. And I don't see 25 teams better than Notre Dame. Yeah. Are they 0-2? Is it weird to rank an 0-2 team? Yep. It's just how I feel. It's what I think. It's what my eyes tell me. Notre Dame also opened the season with Miami and Texas A&M, probably 2 top 12 teams when this AP poll comes out. Just, you're not opening with 2 gimmies or anything like that. I respect Notre Dame for scheduling the games. It's tough that they're your first 2 games with a new quarterback and a new defensive coordinator. It's tough. I get it, but those are the results, and that's what it is. And A&M, on the other hand, Mike Elko gets his signature win so far. He gets that victory. Now, this win for A&M means a lot because now, like Ohio State beating Texas, like I want to say LSU beating Clemson, but Clemson, that could be a tire fire. Again, my goodness, we'll get to that in a minute. Miami beating Notre Dame. The wins like this, Texas A&M on the road. If A&M is sitting there at 9-3, this win right here, you're going to look at the schedules, you're going to compare resumes, and you're going to point back to this game on September 13th and say, you know what? I remember a time. I'm old enough to remember when Texas A&M went into South Bend and beat Notre Dame by 1 on the road. That is the trump card if A&M is going to make the playoff. And when we look at A&M's schedule, okay, they've got Auburn next week. They have a bye this week. They have Florida at home. They go to LSU on October 25th, to Missouri the following week. They host South Carolina. That's manageable. They can lose one of those games and still be okay. Then they go to Austin to end the season on a Friday night. That game going to be bananas. I'm just telling you now, Arch Manning and the Longhorns will be much better. A&M's a good football team. A&M, that game could be for a spot potentially, this is insane, in Atlanta, but I do think A&M having this one over Notre Dame, that's one of those back pocket games where you're like, hey, we're going to pull out the credentials here once we get to December for playoff caliber teams. So again, A&M is a team I want you guys to keep your eye on. Now, getting a win like that, they could be one of those teams that slide into the college football playoff, because if you looked at their schedule early on, I know I was one of these people. I baked in that win for Notre Dame. I thought they would do it, finish 11-1. I didn't know. Again, the split, I thought either Miami or A&M that they would lose. I figured they would beat A&M being at home. You can shake it out, however. It's just one of those things you're like, well, they're going to lose one of them. I don't know which one it is. That's just sometimes how you have to predict schedules. But that's just that's where I'm at on the Irish and on A&M. I think A&M is now going to be one of the cooler stories to follow with Mike Elko resurging that program. And if they get into the college football playoff with Marcel Reed, he's a really dynamic quarterback. Elko's going to have them playing really physical football. They'd be a force to be reckoned with if A&M can get everything together and go on a run. Now it's going to see how can they sustain greatness? How can they handle the expectations now? Because they've won this game, now they're going to be expected to go win another one. Can they do that? These are all the things we're going to evaluate with these teams over the next couple of weeks. We've only had 3 weeks of data, 3 weeks of games. Now, what do these teams do with what we've learned from them so far? Again, we're not crowning anybody. We're not saying, hey, this is going to be a national champion. No. We're learning about these teams. We're forming our opinions based on real results, not preconceived notions, not fall camp intel, not rosters, not preview magazines, not spring practice. No, on-field results. This is what we see. We're forming our opinion now as we move forward. Georgia Tech and Clemson. Clemson is in trouble. But if you are a listener of this show, we told you Georgia Tech was going to be good this year, and we told you Georgia Tech could pull this upset. That's all I'm going to say. Brett Key, what an outstanding job that he's doing as a coach. Haynes King, outstanding quarterback, dynamic with his legs, can throw the ball really well. He's a playmaker. He's dynamic. Georgia Tech is a team to be reckoned with in the ACC now, which this race is taking on a form we didn't expect. Clemson now 0-1 in conference play, not out of it by any stretch. Playoff, on the other hand, that's going to get dicey for the Tigers, sitting now at 1-2. Georgia Tech undefeated 3-0. They'll be ranked this week as they should be. Should have been ranked last week. It's neither here nor there. Florida State looking really good so far. Miami looking really good so far. ACC race is going to be really interesting between those 3 teams. Can Clemson find their way back in? Yes. Are they giving me any reason to think that they can? No. I just know math, and theoretically they can. They only have 1 conference loss, and it's a long season. Anything can happen. So I don't know if it's panic button time at Clemson yet, but I'm at least looking at the button. I'm thinking about pressing it. I'm not pressing it yet. Again, this is September 13th, those games. I'm not going to press any panic buttons on the teams yet. I don't think it's a situation like UCLA or Virginia Tech where you're moving off of Deshaun Foster and Brett Pry. That I don't think is what needs to happen here. They're not going to fire Dabo. None of that's going to happen. It's just the dynasty may be over. The time may have passed for Clemson. We're going to figure that out as the season wears on, and it's just what the nature of it could be. But right now, Georgia Tech inserting itself in the national picture, but primarily in the ACC conference race picture first. So great win by the Yellow Jackets. A really, really great win. Alabama also bounced back. They won 38-14 at home against Wisconsin. That was a gimme. One thing we thought would happen. I did get to watch John Mateer and Oklahoma play Temple. That was a good effort by both teams. I know the scoreboard's going to show a really big gap here. It was 42-3 Oklahoma. Watching the film, the caliber of athlete wasn't as wide of a gap as you would think it was, or it would have been. I mean, Temple played well. They didn't execute early on, and once you get down like that to a really good school, I mean, Temple had no margin for error if they wanted to keep this competitive, and they had errors early. Like they weren't executing. It was tough to get lined up and cover them. And plus, John Mateer has just made some really athletic plays to extend drives, to just be creative. He's a playmaker, man. He is a playmaker. If you can buy stock in any one player right now in college football, I would tell you to buy it in John Mateer. There's other good players out there, but John Mateer specifically, I would tell you to buy stock. He had a 51-yard touchdown run right in front of me. So really dynamic, great player. He's got a big win over Michigan under his belt. Now backs that up with continued good play. I like where John Mateer's trajectory is heading. And if that's the case, for Oklahoma. Like Texas A&M, they too could be a real contender in the conference. So keep your eye on Oklahoma as well with Brett Venables because that defense is fast, it's downhill, and they play sound football. So that, again, really good win for Oklahoma. I want to go now to Florida LSU. This one, DJ Lagway. 5 interceptions. LSU's defense with Blake Baker, 5 interceptions. Which way sounds better when I talk about on defense? Blake Baker and LSU have a defense. They have a veteran quarterback. In my opinion, the top quarterback in the country. That is a recipe for a contender. I'm not crowning them king. I'm not saying that they're the number 1 team in the country. I'm just letting you know that I see ingredients in the kitchen in Baton Rouge. And they're getting put into a bowl. They're getting measured. They're getting stirred. They're getting poured into the pan, about ready to get baked into the oven and see what the cake looks like. We're taking these steps. They've now beaten Clemson. They've now beaten Florida. They could be bottom feeder teams for all we know. But what I do know is that they're not bottom feeder teams. There's a lot of talent on Florida. There's a lot of talent on Clemson. Clemson probably has 3 starting first-round NFL draft picks. DJ Lagway's a good quarterback. Florida has talent. They do. Billy Napier's a good coach. They have the talent. This is a good win for LSU. But how good of a win is it for LSU? Again, time's going to tell. Don't overreact. Don't justify. It's hard not to do that with this because LSU, if you're looking in mid-August at LSU's schedule and you say, you know what? We're going to start 3-0. They're going to beat Clemson. They're going to beat Florida. Every LSU fan would take it and say, we have an argument to probably be the number 1, number 2 team in the country. LSU sitting at 3. That's fine. Rankings don't matter in September. Just monitor the Tigers. That's all I'm going to say. They're not the best team in the country to me. They've got things to clean up like every team does. There is not one premier dominant team. Yeah, Ohio State looks like the best team in the country, but they had trouble scoring in the red zone against Ohio. They did. Julian Sands thrown an interception now in 2 straight games against lesser opponents. I mean, neither of them really his fault on Saturday night. It's just kind of the luck of what happened with the tip drill. But again, every team has a place of vulnerability. Every team has a way they could be exposed or beaten or held in check. And for LSU, it was they gave up a lot of points a year ago. LSU's not giving up a lot of points so far this year. That's my big evaluation when I see LSU because in its 2 biggest games, they're giving up 10 points. 10 points at Clemson, 10 points when Florida comes to town. Louisiana Tech scored 7. Those signs, like I said, the ingredients are out. The signs that I'm seeing from LSU, okay, they're a team I think I want to buy stock in. Not a ton, like I said. I'm not handing out titles or crowns or anything like that. I just like what I'm seeing from LSU. And their schedule, they got at Ole Miss the end of the month, at Vanderbilt in the middle of October, following week, like I said, Texas A&M. This stretch right here for LSU is going to determine its season. October 18th at Vanderbilt, October 25th hosting Texas A&M. Bye week, November 8th at Alabama. That 3-game stretch right there, they close the season at Oklahoma. That's going to be the place that determines LSU's ceiling. It'll be it right there. So if you're Brian Kelly, I like the position that your team's in. Got to figure out how, if they can win 2 of those 3 games, The one with Oklahoma is just going to be a consolation pretty much. It's like, well, we're in either way. Now we're playing for seeding. We're possibly going to Atlanta. You'd be playing for a whole lot if you're LSU, a whole lot. So, like I said, a really fun SEC race. I am just going to be all in on watching this race unfold in the Southeastern Conference this year. I think it's going to be really good. I mean, again, I don't see an elite team there, but I see a lot of good teams, and there's going to be some depth there at the top. A conference that doesn't have depth at the top, but has the elite is the Big Ten. That's Ohio State. That is Oregon, who has looked really good, and Penn State. Nebraska, Michigan play this coming week. We'll have more for that on the Thursday show. Big opportunity for those two teams. But I really think the Big Ten is the conference that has multiple elite teams. They have some depth in the Big Ten, too. Don't get me wrong. They have depth. It's better than it's been in the middle of the conference. The bottom of the conference, though, UCLA, woo, man. Top end of the Big Ten, really, really good football teams. Top end of the SEC, good football teams. They can show me that they're great. They can show me these things. I'm just not buying it yet that there's elite football in the SEC as of right now. I don't think it can't happen. I just right now I'm seeing elite in the Big Ten, not at the top of the SEC. But again, that could change. So those are all the big rocks from week 3 of the college football season. If you didn't catch any of the games and you just tuned into the episode, well, congratulations. You basically watched week 3 in the duration of this show, which is perfect for you. Helps you digest everything. These teams that I'm buying stock in are, I really am monitoring Oklahoma and LSU. I really am. I think they're really intriguing stories. They're good teams, and there's a lot ahead of them, a lot in front of them, and big opportunities await. Big. So again, just keep your eye on that. We're going to have more for you on the Thursday show. Pretty good slate of games this week. Again, we're going to have you covered all week long. Make sure you are staying tuned to the socials at Saturday Cadence, at T Silver Bulletin, and at Blake Biscardi on all platforms. Same handle everywhere. So appreciate you guys listening to today's show. That was the week 3 recap. We're going to have a lot more for you on the Thursday show as we preview and make all of our picks for week 4. We are moving right along here in this young college football season as we continue to learn about these teams. So in the meantime, you guys have a great week and God bless.